these are the clays that I conditioned in my conditioning video on clay. And I'm going to use a square cutter. It's 3 inches, but that's about how much clay I'm going to need. And you cut equal parts. So I'm going to cut one of the turquoise. And you don't have to use a cutter, it's just easy to use if you have one on hand where you know you're getting equal parts of stuff. And all of this, well, most of this will probably be made in a Skinner blend, but what I'm trying to do one for this Skinner blend is going to be for is going to do a light switch cover. Okay, so I have a white square and a blue square, the same size. Move that out of the way. And I'm going to cut them diagonally. Got my longer blade here. Now if you cut them corner to corner equally, the end result on your Skinner blend will not have the end color. Like, it will not have a solid white on one end and a solid blue on another end, and then do the gradient in the middles. If you offset it just a little bit and cut it, and you do the same thing on this side, just this little piece, a little square piece, instead of it going into the pointed end like a triangle, is going to give you some of this white at this end. Okay, so we need to turn this over and lay one white piece on one white piece. Same thing, I left about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. And you're laying your clay in double thicknesses. And then you're going to add them together. And I'm going to roll over them just a little bit and make sure they're connected. Straighten them up a little. That's just my preference. I mean, you can cut wicked triangles and end up with beautiful Skinner blends, but to show you how to do it the easy way, this is it. Okay, what I'm going to do is you run your square through your pasta machine or your roller if you're doing it by hand. And what you want to do, let me roll this through first on my thickest setting. Okay. I'm setting it this way in front of me because I want one color on one side and one color on the other side. You can do this with more than two colors, but until you get it down, it's not hard. It's just knowing which way to fold it, basically. Just do it with two. You get great results with two colors. So what I want to do now is run it back through my pasta machine. And that didn't stick very well, but it will. And you fold color on color. So your white end's still your white end, and your blue end's all your blue, or whatever color you're using. And my blue turquoise is just a little bit dry still. It's still workable, but it's crumbling. But as many times as I'm going to take this through the pasta machine and blend the white to the blue, then the blue will get less dry as we go through the process. Okay. If you want a blend, a gradient blend that goes from one color to the other, this triangle has to be in there in order for it to graduate colors evenly. If you would want a stripe pattern, lay your clay out the same way, but don't cut it in triangles and don't have the angles. Use the straight lines, and that will give you more of a stripe pattern with your color gradient than a more blended one. Okay, I'm going to run this through my pasta machine a couple of times, folding it color on color. All the blue's going to go on the right and all the white's going to go on the left, and my fold where I folded it is going to be the first thing that hits the rollers on my pasta machine, so it'll kick the air out the top. Okay, this is what it's like 5 times on my thickest setting. So I'm going to turn the settings to a thinner setting. I'll take it down 1 or 2. Still folding it, all the blue on one end and all the white on the other end. Okay, here's what it looks like after I have run it through the pasta machine on my thickest setting, number 1. Folded it and I run it through 3 times. So you already can see the blue on one end, the white on the other, and then the gradient starting in between. This side doesn't look the same. And that's okay. It hasn't distributed equally throughout the clay yet. So don't worry about if one side doesn't look like the other. Okay, that was just one thinner setting. That was down to a number 2. And you can see that it's starting to blend together. But I still have a solid white area and a solid blue area, because I cut it offset just a little bit when I cut my triangles. If I'd have cut end to end on those triangles, there would be more white up in the blue and more blue down in the white at this point. Okay, now you can see it's blending more. But I still have my blue and I still have my white. But let me show you the other side. The other side's got white all the way up in this, and it's not as smooth as this side. that doesn't matter. That will change as you go along. And how far you go with the blend, I mean, if I was doing a sky or something, this would work for me to stop it at this point. I've got my layers of color, and I'd roll it out in a sheet, and I would stop it. See, it looks like a sky, but that's not what I'm going for. So we're going to keep running it through the machine. I turned my machine down one thickness to a number 2, and I ran it through 2 more times. So you can see there's more blue going down into the white. And this side's still a little bit different, but it will work itself out in the end. So let me get this finished and I'll come back. If you want to leave it as these stripe colors, if that's what you're looking for, then do it. I mean, to me, I see a sky and the backdrop of the ocean, and I would put a horizon line right here where these two colors come together, and this be the water coming up on the beach or something. I could turn this into an ocean scene in no time. So always keep your imagination open. Okay, I took my pasta machine down to a number 3 because that's where I want to end up with a thickness to go over my light switch cutter. I ran it through 2 more times, and you can see it's still stripy looking in color, but it's not got those definite stripes in there like it did a while ago. It's more of a blended stripe. And this side is catching up with it. We still have a little bit of white over here, but that's okay. So let me run this through a couple of more times, get this a little bit more blended, and then I'm going to roll it out to where one way or the other, it doesn't matter to me at this point. I'm not too worried about if it's going to lay this way, which is what I prefer it lay, or if the lays and the stripes are going up and down. So let me get this rolled through on a number 3 a couple of more times. So here's my finished blend, and I rolled it out once I liked the gradients of the color. I rolled it out to a number 5 because I want to cover this light switch cover. This